Hi, my name is Tomaz Remick, and I'm a senior at Telluride High School. And this summer, I spent 6 weeks at the Laboratory for Atmospheric and Space Physics at CU Boulder. And this is the building here. You can see a telescope right up there. It doesn't have anything in it. It's a storage space. Because when they were designing the building, they didn't figure that there would be any load put on the building right there. So it can't take a telescope. So it's filled with boxes. And so what I did was, I worked, well, at least for the first bit of my internship, I worked with operations, spacecraft operations for MAVEN, which is the Mars Atmospheric and Volatile Evolution mission, which is in orbit around Mars. And this is my desk, and I worked with a lot of spreadsheets. I was doing data transfer rate calculations because the spacecraft, right about a couple days before the end of my internship, went into conjunction, which means that it went behind the sun. So here's Earth, and here's Mars, and with the sun in the middle, you can't communicate with anything over there. So we had to basically get everything on the spacecraft prepared and ready to, we had to get it fully autonomous before it went behind the sun, and that was a bit of a crunch. So after I was done working with data rate things and everything was getting squared away, I went over to this building where some friends of my mentors were doing space science. And this is my desk over there. And I worked with space science of Mars and a little bit of Jupiter. And so what I did with Mars is I looked at terminator clouds and proton aurorae, which I don't have any pictures of because you can't really see them. They're not visible to the naked eye. But on MAVEN, there's a instrument called the Imaging Ultraviolet Spectrograph, which takes pictures of the limb of Mars, which is the very outside of it, and you get to see a very thin atmosphere, and it takes data from that. And let's see, these are some of the people I worked with. There is one of my mentors, Fran, and Parker, a grad student I worked with. And in the back is Io. And Io, I got to study the last little bit of my internship because Fran gave me a radio telescope for the last 2 weeks. And she just said it was mine to use. And so this is the lab. Parker and I use this lab to get everything set up. And then this is our field office. It's very high tech, as you can tell. You can't quite see it, but the telescope is up here. It's not an optical telescope, so it doesn't look like what you think a telescope would look like. It's a dipole array, which basically takes any incoming radio signals and amplifies them, so you can see it, and then on that computer there, you get readouts. What we were looking at is this, which is the magnetospheric torus around Jupiter. And this right there is Io. And that is the main source of all radio emissions from Jupiter because it emits about 2 tons of magnetic material per second into orbit around Jupiter. That material then gets ionized by Jupiter's radiation belts, which then, when affected by the gravity of Io, send radiation storms towards Earth. And this is data from one of those storms. You can see the long spikes here. Those are called L bursts. And then these short periods of spiking are called S bursts. And those are indicative of different materials that are being ejected by Io at any given point. Some fun things I did. I spent a lot of time at Pearl Street. It was very empty. It was weird. Nobody was there. There were like maybe 10 or 20 people in the entire street. But, it was cool getting to see all the stores and stuff and it's a huge mall that there's so many things you can do there. Advice to future interns, ask questions. Don't be afraid to ask questions. You may think it's stupid, but trust me, it's not. Just anything you're confused on, ask about it. And also have fun, because what are you going to not do? Not have fun?